So last time we talked about the compressibility of the soil, and there are some coefficients that we saw, that is compression index, and then there is coefficient of compressibility, and one more coefficient that I am yet to discuss, that is coefficient of volume compressibility. So these three coefficients help us to find out the magnitude of settlement. With the help of these we can find out the magnitude of settlement, and that we'll see how do we find out the magnitude of settlement. And apart from that, there is coefficient of consolidation, and it helps us to find out the time rate of consolidation. So more about it later. Here we'll see how do we find out the total settlement, not total, just the primary settlement, primary consolidation, or we say it as consolidation. So for these coefficients we know that it depends on the void ratio and effective stress. Effective stress is just the stress increase, so we know what stress we are putting on the soil, so depending upon that we know the effective stress, but we don't know what is the void ratio that will, or the change in void ratio that will happen due to the stress increase. So now we are concerned about finding the void ratio of the soil. So for that, one laboratory test is there, and that is consolidometer test, and it is also called as oedometer test. So here I have drawn this diagram of the, it is, this instrument is called as the consolidometer. So this part is a soil specimen, and these are the porous stones on the top and the bottom, so water can drain out, and this specimen will be of cylindrical shape such that the height is comparatively less than this area, so that only the height changes, because we are talking about one dimensional consolidation in this unit. So we'll always consider that the area is high compared to height or depth. So this is the soil specimen, and it is fitted in this consolidometer ring, and on the top and the bottom porous stones are there to for water to drain out, and there will be some proving ring arrangement, so that using that the amount of settlement or change in height of this soil can be calculated. Delta H can be calculated from here. So what is the procedure of this experiment? So the load is applied, or we can say that stress is increased in an incremental order. So first some stress sigma naught is applied, let's say, and so this stress will be there for around 24 hours. Now in this 24 hours, during this 24 hour different readings will be taken. You mean at different times the height of solids will be measured using this proving ring arrangement, and so what we can find out from that, we know that the volume change, and we are taking the time unit also, so we will find out the volume change per unit time, and so we can relate it with the rate of settlement. Apart from that, in the 24 hour after the 24 hours interval, the height of solid or the height of soil is measured, and then another stress increment is applied, that is sigma 1. So that again will stay for 24 hours and same procedure we'll do again. So what happens, why are we doing it for 24 hours? Because it is a fine grained soil, so the pore water takes time to drain out. It means that if we apply some stress, let's say we just applied a stress of sigma 1, so that stress will not be transferred to the soil. It will be carried by the pore water. So but as the time passes, that pore water will drain out because of this excess pore water pressure that I discussed earlier. And after that pore water has drained out, then in this whatever the increment was applied from the top, that increment will happen in the soil sample. So it takes some time. So this is usually the appropriate time of 24 hours to leave the sample and then take the reading of height of soil. So this procedure is applied in the incremental manner. The stress is increased, and then after that, after final increment, in 2 to 3 stages the load is removed. So first we increase the load, and later in 2 to 3 stages the load is removed. So when the load is removed, we saw that the soil will swells. So that also we can find out from here, and in this process we will just take the final increased height. And so we know the swelling also. And when this procedure is over, so we have totally unloaded the sample. Now what we'll do, we'll take that sample to find out the weight of solids by oven drying it, and the water content, that is final water content, and we denote it with WF, and weight of solid, let's say that is WS. So after that we can find out the void ratio, and we can plot it with sigma or log sigma, and that plot we saw it go something like this that we saw earlier. So the point is, how do we measure this void ratio in this process? Because in this, with this proving ring arrangement in this experiment, we can find out the height of solids or height of the soil. So from that we have to find out the void ratio. So there are two methods for calculating the void ratio. First is height of solid method, and the second is change in void ratio method. Let's see the first one. It is height of solids. So we know this formula, that specific gravity is given as gamma S upon gamma W, which can be written as weight of solids divided by volume of solids times gamma W. And from here, volume of solids is equal to weight of solids times specific gravity of the soil grains times unit weight of water. Now here, as I said earlier, the volume change will occur just because the change in height. So the volume of solids can be written as area times height of solids, which is equal to Ws upon Gs gamma W. And from here, height of solids is equal to weight of solids divided by Gs gamma W times area. So we calculate the height of the solids, and now we know that the void ratio is given as volume of voids to the volume of solids. Now volume of voids, I can again write it as total height minus height of solids times area. So height times area will give me the volume, and we are saying that volume change is occurring only due to the change in height, and volume of solids can be written as Hs times A. So from here A will cancel out, E is equal to H minus Hs divided by Hs. So from here this void ratio can be calculated, and it is known as equilibrium void ratio. So this is the first method, and let's see the another method, that is change in void ratio method. So it can be understood using the phase diagram. In the phase diagram we saw that this is the, let's say the volume of solids is equal to 1, so we know that volume of voids will be equal to E from the void ratio formula. So, and from here if I say that some change in volume has occurred because of this settlement, so let's say change in volume has occurred, that is delta V, and because we know that the volume of solids will remain constant, so the change in volume means that the change in volume of voids. So that means that if the total volume of voids is E, then the change in volume of voids I can write it as delta E, and the remaining volume of voids is E final. And so from here we saw one formula initially, that is S equal to Wg, and we take that the soil is fully saturated. So from here I can say E final is equal to final water content times the specific gravity of soil grains. So from here I know the E final, and knowing this E final we can find out every E, like for every stress increment, because in the experiment we did for the continuous stress increment. So from here how can I find out E? So we know that change in volume divided by total volume is equal to change in height divided by total height or the original height. So change in it is also equal to delta E that we saw here, and the total volume or the original volume is 1 plus E naught. So this is E naught. So from here we know that change in height and we know the original height, so we can calculate the change in void ratio, and we know the final void ratio also. So the final void ratio can be written as E1 minus delta E. That means, let's say for the second last stress increment, the void ratio was E1 and the final void ratio is EF. So I can say that if the change in void ratio between E1 and EF is delta E, then EF is equal to E1 minus delta E. And so similarly from here we can find E1, and then we can go backward further, that is before E1 if the void ratio was E2, then using the same formula we can find out that E2 also. So that way we can find all the equilibrium void ratios. Equilibrium void ratio. So now that we have got void ratio and we have got sigma, so depending upon these we had some coefficients, as I said, that is compression index, and there was coefficient of compressibility, and now we are moving towards the calculation of primary consolidation, that is calculation of settlement due to primary consolidation. About in immediate settlement we'll do when we study the shallow foundation, and secondary we'll do after this primary consolidation. So here we saw that using this formula, change in height upon original height, this change in height upon original height is equal to change in void ratio divided by original void 1 plus original void ratio, that is total volume. So from here change in height can be calculated as delta E upon 1 plus E naught times H naught. This initial height was H naught. So using this formula, if we know the void ratios, initial void ratio and change in height void ratio and the initial height, so from that we can find out the total settlement. That is one formula. And now we know that coefficient of compressibility, it was equal to AV is equal to delta E upon delta sigma. So if I put the value of delta E is equal to AV delta sigma. So if I put in 1 in 1, so we'll get delta H. Delta H is the, we can write it as the settlement of foundation. So settlement is equal to delta E is AV delta sigma divided by 1 plus E naught times H naught. This is one more formula. And now, as I was talking about coefficient of volume compressibility, coefficient of volume compressibility. So it is defined as volume change per unit volume divided by the increase in effective stress. So I can write, and it is denoted with MV. MV is equal to volume change per unit volume. I can write it as delta V upon V, and increase in effective stress, let's say that is delta sigma. So it is also equal to, as we have discussed earlier, that is delta H upon H and delta sigma, and it is also equal to delta E divided by 1 plus E naught times delta sigma. And this delta E upon delta sigma, what is it equal to? It is equal to coefficient of compressibility. So I can write it as AB upon 1 plus E naught. So this is the equation for coefficient of compressibility. Now come back to this equation. Settlement is equal to this AV delta sigma H naught upon 1 plus E naught. So in the place of AV upon 1 plus E naught, I can write MV. So settlement is equal to MV H naught delta sigma. So this was the second formula for settlement. This is the third formula. Now move on to the compression index. So one more thing, that this coefficient of volume compressibility and coefficient of compressibility, these are not constant for a soil. These are defined for a stress range. So for one stress range, that is, let's say it is from sigma 1 to sigma 2, we can define AV and MV. But this compression index, it is constant for a soil, as I told earlier also, constant for a soil. It does not depend upon the stress, effective stress. Whereas if this stress increases, let's say from sigma 2 to sigma 3, then AV and MV will change. So compression index, as I was saying, it is equal to, noted Cc, it is equal to delta E upon log sigma 2 upon sigma 1, and we can write here it as log sigma 2, let's say that is sigma final, and divided by sigma 1 is the sigma naught, that is sigma initial. So from here delta E is equal to Cc log sigma final divided by sigma initial, and initial formula what we saw here was delta H, or the settlement, is equal to delta E H naught upon 1 plus E naught. So again we'll replace the value of delta E here. So settlement is equal to Cc upon 1 plus E naught H naught log sigma final upon sigma initial, or we can write it as sigma final is what? Sigma final can be written as sigma initial plus delta sigma. We did some stress increase, and because of that we found out this new stress. So settlement can be written as Cc H naught upon 1 plus E naught log sigma naught plus delta sigma divided by sigma naught. This is our fourth formula. And after that, so this is Cc. So this is considering that our soil is normally consolidated, and if I show it by this graph that we saw, so we are assuming that the soil is in this zone, that is virgin compression. So what happened when the soil is over consolidated? So for that we have to check. So there was a term called pre-consolidation stress, that is sigma C. So now if we are trying to find out the settlement, so we have to check this sigma C. So if our sigma naught is greater than sigma C, or say less than sigma C first, sigma naught is less than sigma C, it means what? The soil is over consolidated. And then we'll do one more check, that is if sigma naught plus delta sigma, that is also less than sigma C. That means that over the whole stress increase, soil is in recompression zone. It means that we cannot use Cc. Cc was the slope of this virgin compression curve, and that is for the normally consolidated soil. And now if this soil is over consolidated, that means we are in this zone, recompression part. So we have to take the slope of this part. So the slope of this part is known as the recompression index, that is denoted with Cr. So for this condition 1, when sigma naught is also less than sigma C and sigma naught plus delta sigma is also less than sigma C, for that settlement is given as settlement is equal to Cr H naught upon 1 plus E naught log sigma plus delta sigma divided by sigma naught. Now there is one more case, that is what happens if sigma naught is less than sigma C, that is initial stress is less than pre-consolidation stress, but sigma naught plus delta sigma, after this stress increase, it is greater than this stress. It means that for this part the soil is in recompression, and for this part the second part, the soil is entering virgin compression. So we can see here that soil is starting somewhere here and it is coming down here. So from recompression it is entering virgin compression. So for this part from sigma naught to sigma c we use CR, and for this part we use CC, that is recompression index and then compression index. So the total settlement can be written as CR H naught upon 1 plus E naught log sigma c, that is considering sigma c the final stress and sigma naught the effective stress. So from sigma naught to sigma c, so sigma c is final and sigma naught is initial, plus cc H naught upon 1 plus E naught log sigma c plus delta sigma divided by sigma c. So in this part we are saying that sigma c is initial and after that some sigma final is we are reaching, that is equal to sigma c plus delta sigma. So we have broken this problem into two parts. This part is the recompression, and this part is the normally consolidated. So this is one more equation. So these are the equations that we'll use to find out the primary consolidation. And now we'll see the time rate of consolidation and coefficient of consolidation. Thank you.